Hello, welcome to Insights in Action with Orange 142, where we interview agency leaders and business owners to uncover the journeys, the strategies, and the insights that drive their success. At Orange 142, we're all about transforming brand stories into impactful digital experiences through innovative media and marketing solutions. And today, I'm very lucky to be joined by Chris Copacino of Copacino Fujikado. How's it going, Chris?
It's going great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. And I know we had Andrew on a few episodes ago, so I'm really excited to be talking to you and hearing your perspectives. And I would love to learn a little bit more, just to start this off. I'd love to learn a little bit more about your background and how you came to create your agency.
Yeah. I just crested my 20th year at the agency. I'm an ad baby. I grew up around the business. It was ingrained in my blood at a very young age. My father, Jim Copacino, is a co-founder here of the agency. And growing up around the business, it was just part of dinner conversations, weekend conversations. I remember as a kid, if he was working on a pitch, I'd come into the office with him on the weekends. I'd hang out in the art room. He'd be working. So then I just went through my schooling. I never got too far away from agency life. I just loved the energy, the intersection of kind of business and creativity, the people, the interesting, funny, young and heart people that infiltrate agencies. And I just love the vibe. And so as I went through school, and I always knew I'd graduate to somewhere in the media, marketing, creative agency life. But it was a foregone conclusion I was going to come work here. But I won't bore you with the story, but I ended up here. And I've always been on the account management side. My dad was a lifelong creative writer and creative director. And so, but I was always like a little bit more, I guess, left brained, a little bit more logical, a little bit more business oriented. And I've just never fallen out of love with agency life. Just the challenges we get to deal with, the variability across businesses, categories. And it sounds almost trite when you say this. Every day we're trying to solve a business problem with communication and creativity some way, somehow. And that's a fascinating thing to think about different businesses and how you can unlock those. Yeah. 20 and a half years into this and still enjoying it.
Wow. Was there ever anything that you ever thought about, man, maybe if I don't go into agencies, I'd rather, or like the agency world, I would like to do this for a career? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I've always been a big sports guy. So I, growing up in Seattle, I worked for the Seattle Mariners at one point through a relationship, frankly, that the agency had. And I look, but I said, I think it's maybe just nature and nurture and the combination of it. But I always knew I would work somewhere in media, creativity, communication, somewhere. So even if it wasn't for an agency, I could see myself client side. I could see myself. I had worked in sports marketing. I almost took a job with the San Diego Padres out of school. I almost went and worked for the Seattle Seahawks. Yeah, maybe somewhere in the sports marketing realm.
Yeah, okay, that's cool. That's a good little secondary to have. San Diego's where I am, so the Padres probably would have loved to have you.
Good
Um,
city.
yeah, and your Copacino's mission is to be Seattle's most respected agency. And I guess I'm curious, how do you balance delivering innovative, creative work with maintaining the trust and the respect of clients in such a competitive market?
Yeah. Well, I don't think those things are mutually exclusive. I think one thing that we are is a strategy first agency. So that's where we start, right? Creative ideas don't just pop up out of nowhere, untethered to anything. They have to be grounded in really strong strategy. So I think that's where we start. And frankly, if we gain that trust, if we do that work on the strategic side, then we have more license to bring creativity to bear because you can't bore someone into attention. And there's all kinds of, you've seen different metrics before. And from, I think strong creative can be up to 12 times more effective. So when you earn that trust, and that's where we start, we're a responsible agency. We work close with our clients, we listen to them, and then we develop strong strategy. Then we can get to ideas. They say, okay, this is the top spin you need. We work a lot with challenger brands, right? And challenger brands can't limp into the marketplace. They can't be safe. They have to take some big swings. And you only get to do that based on a really strong understanding of the business and developing tight creative strategy based on audience insights and what you have to do to truly break through. We have a saying here, and this is, you probably heard this before, but one of the most irresponsible things you can do is to approve safe work. Because at the end of the day, you will just be part of the sea of sameness and just part of the landscape and not break out. And frankly, for a lot of our brands who are mid-sized brands, they have to punch above their weight. So that means creative and media working together for a 1+1 = 3 kind of solution.
Yeah. Wow, I love that. And you said something there that was really interesting. Your agency is obviously known for championing challenger brands. What is it about working with these brands that excites you, and how do you help them punch above their weight in both creative and media?
Yeah, first of all, I think we love a good challenge, right? Like we say sometimes that across the team to a person, we are the people who want the ball in our hands with 3 seconds to go and down by one, right? Like that's who we are. So we start there. But challenger brands, like that's where interesting work comes from because we all know that if you just go ahead and communicate or you run campaigns, your brand is about category tropes, then you're just basically reinforcing the category leader, right? So we have to find a different way to come at it. And that's where the real fun and just magic of this business comes from is unlocking this thing, this human motivation, this insight, this thing that allows you to drive reappraisal and drive absolute brand transformation inside of it, inside of a person of the audience's head because you have to. And then media helps provide topspin. Like our media group, we often call them a creative media group because one of their charges is to make creative ideas bigger and more powerful, right? And so it's not just media and then we fill units with creativity. It's really okay, how do those come together? And frankly, they have to from a challenger brand standpoint because you have to make impact and you can only make impact by combining those two forces together and really harnessing their powers to be more than the sum of their parts.
Yeah, absolutely. And that must be so much more fun. But you think about these institutional brands, right, that have been around forever, and they have to think about how to be a challenger brand or how to appear as a challenger brand. And the clients that you guys work with, it must be so fun. That part is inherent, and so it allows for so much creativity, and it hopefully makes your guys' jobs a little bit easier as well. But obviously, you've got the skills to make it happen too.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I think that I think it goes back to the challenge of it and then just that necessity to communicate about something that's compelling. And then we spend a lot of time finding, we have different frameworks we use, but one of them is really trying to find the intersection of a brand, a product, a human, and a competitive truth. And we understand all those truths. And then the finding insight from where we jump off sits in the middle of that. But sometimes we can derive more power from one of those truths. If there is a mindset or a barrier we need to break, or we understand keenly a problem we need to solve for our audience, we can dramatize that a little bit more. And that's where really interesting work comes from. And not not interesting work for the sake of just being wild and zany and interesting, but really as a way to elbow into the category and carve share and take share from the leader and compete.
Yeah, definitely. You guys offer unique approaches like your brains for sale creative process and your brand content value process. How do these offerings help you deliver tailored solutions that stand out in the marketplace?
Yeah, I think that I'll take each of those individually. I think for our brains for sale product, I think there's a realization that sometimes clients just need powerful, big ideas. And clients have become a lot more sophisticated. They are sophisticated. They often know their brand. They have great insights. They've done their work. They just need a really killer idea, especially bigger brands. We work with brands often that we do a lot for, and we do a lot of strategy work for, and we're full spectrum end to end. Sometimes bigger brands, they just need a powerful idea. And that's where that brains for sale product is incredible because we can get briefed, vet that brief, and then deliver really powerful ideas relatively quickly from brief to first round of idea, usually in 2 weeks. Um, what's powerful about that is we explore a lot, we bring a lot to the table, we get early feedback from our clients, and we're able to pivot depending on the feedback we hear, not get 6 weeks down the road and then all of a sudden hit a non-starter. It really does allow us to expand our thinking and think really holistically, and then get early feedback and channel from there. The content strategy side is another piece because every brand needs to have some sort of content strategy, right? And that content strategy should come directly from their brand, right? What does their brand stand for? So really what that product is about finding a brand's content value proposition. Like why should they be talking? No one necessarily, and it comes from a value standpoint, right? Like they're trying to talk to their audience, but how are they providing value? And what is their value prop? And are they trying to entertain? They're trying to
Mhm.
educate. They're trying to whatever they're trying to do. And so that's what that process is really about, is trying to find the piercingly clear articulation of what their content value prop is, and then rally around that, and then take that value prop and extend it across content types and platforms, and draw a roadmap and say, okay, this is how your content needs to spill out. But it all derives from the brand, and it all derives from a value prop that connects everything, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. Wow, I love that. And that's just one of those things that you just can't have. It's really hard. I shouldn't say I can't, but it's really hard to have somebody do that just in-house. And that's why just
Right.
having those outside perspectives is so valuable. It would just, for you guys, it's amazing to come in and be used to doing stuff like that, but have that unique challenge with every sort of brand that you work with.
Right. And I think we're one of the secret sauces in that whole thing is collaboration, right? So when we do that content product and process with our clients, it's a workshop thing. It's not just us going away for 8 weeks and coming back like McKinsey with a six slide deck and going, here's your answer. It's working, and it's iteration because they're working in it every day and they know what's worked and what hasn't worked. So it really is that third party perspective helping them. So because ultimately, oftentimes clients want to control their own content in-house, and we totally understand that. But we give them the playbook. We give them, we're almost like the offensive coordinator. And then, okay, go ahead and call your plays now. You know what you got. On the Brains for Sales side, there's wonderful collaboration that happens in that too, because like I said, we go from brief to ideas in about 2 weeks. We just got through a process last week I was in where we showed 9 ideas, 9 powerful, big ideas, and there was not one that was token. They were all standalone and all worthy. But we were able to do that, and then we were able to give them a wide berth and channel from there. And we do, and in that first presentation, coming out of our sprint process, it's a very simple evaluation process. It's yes, no, maybe. Yes, that's really interesting. Keep exploring it. No, not right, and appreciate it, but not right. It's a non-starter. And we go, great. We love quick no's. Let's put that aside. Let's not, this is all a race against time, ultimately. Let's let's put the no's aside. And then the maybes are where the really interesting conversations spark from, because maybe there's a kernel of an idea. There's something really interesting that's not quite right, but let's talk about it now. Let's have a really good rowdy debate about
Mhm.
what's in there that we're interested in, and let's yes and it and no but it, and then keep that maybe on the table. So when we come back to round two, we take the yeses and the maybes, and now we're maybe from 9 to 4 or 5, and now we're to 2, and then we're to 1. But it really is that collaboration and coming back to it. And clients want that. Clients don't want that ivory tower agency anymore that goes away for 8 weeks and comes back and says, don't you love it? And they go, no, not one bit. They want that partner who's going to work with them, challenge them,
Yeah.
be the objective third party, but keep circling back in an iterative form, because that's where I think better solutions come from.
Yeah, I love that, and I love that process. And last question here, real quick one, but you mentioned off camera exploring the idea of not over agencying it. How do you ensure that your agency provides the right level of value without overcomplicating the process for clients?
Ah, great question. It's almost Malcolm Gladwell's Blink. You
Mhm.
spend so much time in this seat that you know when you're making it harder than it needs to be. And you feel that you're making your clients jump through hoops that they don't want to. And so it is a sober thing among us that we can just kind of raise up sometimes and go, I think we're over agencying it. Betty Fujikado, one of our co-founders, used to often say, like, hey, we can make this harder, we can make this easy. And it's not about easy for the sake of getting to the quickest solution fastest and not be the best solution. But it is about understanding that, like, clients don't want to be toyed around, and they don't want, and they get pretty tired quickly of overwrought process for the sake of process, creative preciousness, and some of these less than positive behaviors that have pervaded agencies in the past. So we often say we don't want to over agency it because we want to be the antithesis of that. And we want to break through it and go, hey, we're a bunch of smart people who are eager to solve your problem, and we're going to work with you closely, and there's not going to be a lot of bullshit. Are you good to go? And they're usually like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. It makes it so much easier for clients. This has been awesome, Chris. Where can people learn more about you? Where can people learn more about your agency?
Yeah, website is www.copacino.com, and on there you can check out our blog. We're posting thought leadership there pretty regularly, and check us out on the socials too on LinkedIn /company /Copacino Fujikado, I think. So those are the best places to check us out. Follow me on LinkedIn @Chris Copacino, and appreciate the time today. It's been an awesome conversation.
Yeah, thank you so much for being on.